So the only sort of real noticeable difference now on this is going to be sort of your white pocket on your right hand side, yeah? So that right hip on this one, you see the white bit there's a little bit kind of that way. Not much obviously, I mean we literally moved you probably an inch or two to the left there, okay? What we want is we want this and this to be kind of nice and neutral, but left of the golf ball, yeah? If you put your hands forward, so the shaft is kind of leaning back here, too much leading edge, okay? The ball's either way too far back in your stance, or your hands have to get too far in front of you, in which case then when you play that swing, the swing of that club now is going to therefore be a lot steeper, and your brain kind of the last second, as it starts coming down, you've got to back out of that shot, and then flick, scoop it, or you just go sit the club in the ground. And if your club's slamming in the ground, sort of like a stabby follow through, and the ball it's just fizzing across the green, or you're just going to fat it. So you want to kind of get this part of your torso left of the golf ball, okay? As we're coming to the golf ball here now, you can still turn your chest there and turn your hips through, okay? As you rotate through, that club coming down nice and shallow in here, kind of this way, sort of that sort of striking the match kind of sensation rather than coming down so steep. If your torso is just left of the golf ball, that's where your club's going to bottom out. Your hands, as you can see there, are nicely kind of neutral at setup. Potentially, you could almost move that ball forward a smidgen, but it doesn't matter to be fair. Anywhere kind of in that, and like as long as the club's coming in fairly shallow, if the ball is kind of on that line somewhere, your strike's going to be good. I think people get so scared of a tight line, as you said, they put the ball further back, hands full, and just try to stab on it. Utilise the bounce, that's the key thing. The bounce is your friend, it's going to stop the club digging, and as long as you strike in that club, you're a good enough golfer. You're not going to be sticking the club way and beyond the golf ball, okay? Getting yourself just left the golf ball is going to change your low point, okay? Get that club kind of working through and just feel your kind of torso and your hips sort of swishing through. We don't want to be too steep with the shoulders like so. Like you had such a steep sort of sensation with your technique originally, you were going to kind of come down this way to just knock the ground first. If I come down steep, I'll miss the ground kind of thing. Well, yes, potentially, but when you do that, if you're coming down and so steep behind the golf, your margin is millimetres. I mean, I reckon some of your thin shots, you're probably catching the ball halfway before the club's even got to the ground, and sort of just fizzing it across the back of the green. And then, of course, the result of that then is going to cause you to back out of the shot next time and then try to react against it. So, with all these shots, getting that sternum, as I said, left of the golf ball, that's where your club's going to bottom out. Utilise the bounce and just feel a little bit more kind of shallow and torso-y turny this way, as opposed to steep and.
How would it change on an upslope?
On an upslope, it depends on the severity, if I'm honest, okay? If you're playing a slight upslope, the one you think you described on the 6th, the Vale, is so minimal anyway, nothing at all. You might move the ball forward a smidgen, but I wouldn't be moving it back too much. You're facing the same kind of... still a little bit, yeah. It might kind of just level off a little bit. There's probably a number where you could say, okay, at 10 degrees, it's still normal at 15 degrees, maybe not on 20 degrees, whatever it may be. Yeah. If the slope gets, say on the side of the first on the button, and you're on a sort of slope like this, okay, really extreme slope, so if your kind of green is up here and you're on a bank like this, there's no way you can kind of stand kind of this way because you're just too steep, okay? So in that kind of situation, there you'd be sort of bracing your lower half to get balanced, and then you're going to turn your torso to go with the shoulders, yeah? In that situation, if you move your torso that much to try and get in line with the shoulders, the ball now is going to move back a load, isn't it? Yeah? Because if my torso, my sternum now is that far behind the golf ball, I've got to put the ball back here somewhere. If the ball's kind of middle or forward, you just can't reach it. Okay, so I think depending on the severity, a fairly mundane little slope, and the majority of slopes around most greens, they're either like that, they're going to be just sort of a ridge of a bunker or a slight kind of incline towards the green. So I wouldn't make too much of an adjustment on that. To be fair, you sort of set up normally, get your torso there, so just slide your hips and your shoulders in a sort of level angle. I'm not going to lean my shoulders down so my shoulders are steep, because again that creates that steep angle of attack. Take your hips and torso, slide them left, and just kind of feel that kind of almost a little bit, I suppose, scoopy with that bottom hand. We don't want to be coming in kind of doing this, okay? Just allow that, again, we talk about the putting with that release of the club. Allow that arm to release through as your torso kind of goes through with it. We don't want to be coming in here and stabbing, or then have to try and back out of the shot to try and get up underneath it. Okay, mate? Make sense?